In this video, we will be covering nutrient status causing algal blooms in Lochaber Lake by Kirsten, Renee, and Sarah.
On the coast of Nova Scotia lies Lochaber, a community south of Antigonish. The community of Lochaber is settled around Lochaber Lake, a narrow, deep, oligotrophic lake. The lake is home to recreational activities, but also used to be a drinking water source for residents of the area. Residents of Lochaber have been worried about past algal blooms in the lake, which have recently reoccurred.
So what causes algal blooms in water bodies?
Eutrophication is the increase in nutrient concentration, namely nitrogen and phosphorus, to a water body, causing algal blooms and plant growth. Continued addition of nutrients can cause organism death due to the reduction of oxygen within the water column. Eutrophic conditions start when precipitation occurs, followed by surface runoff. This runoff carries nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus, in high concentrations from agricultural and residential areas into bodies of water. An increase in water temperature promotes algal growth.
Several past studies have been conducted on the health and chemistry of Lochaber Lake. In the 1970s, high levels of fecal coliform bacteria were found due to insufficient sewage treatment. In 1994, the study confirmed the lake was healthy, however, levels of coliform remained high in some areas. Proper sewage treatment practices had begun to take place. From 2011 to present, conditions were still oligotrophic, although community residents and few research studies have noticed algal blooms in the lake.
We have learned from our community partner that cyanobacteria growth in the lake recently is from the genus Microcystis. Ideal growth conditions for Microcystis and other cyanobacteria include low nitrogen and phosphorus ratios, which means high phosphorus concentrations, an optimal environmental temperature of 24 to 34 degrees Celsius, and sunlight for prolific growth.
Both nitrogen and phosphorus ratios are good indicators of trophic state, the measure of algal biomass within the lake, and therefore are areas of high interest. Ratios of total nitrogen to total phosphorus concentrations can be used to determine the limiting nutrient supply. If nitrogen to phosphorus ratios are less than 17 to 1, nitrogen is a limiting nutrient, which is ideal for cyanobacterial growth. If nitrogen to phosphorus ratios are greater than 17 to 1, phosphorus is a limiting nutrient, which favors the growth of other non-toxic algae.
In 1994, 2012, and 2013, phosphorus was proven to be the limiting nutrient. This results in oligotrophic waters and little to no harmful algal blooms because of the limited productivity. Phosphorus is more important than nitrogen in terms of cyanobacterial growth. However, a spike in phosphorus levels results in heightened productivity, therefore more algal blooms and plant growth.
So what can we conclude from these results? We have chemical evidence that the lake supports cyanobacteria growth. The ratios in 2018 show us that we should be seeing greater productivity and a large spike in algal blooms, as the ratio increased drastically to favoring cyanobacterial growth. High phosphorus was found in the north end of the lake, as well as in various tributaries, which were not sampled in previous studies. These drastic changes in the NP ratio between 2013 and 2018 may be due to unavoidable sources of error and greater spatial representation of the lake from sample sites. Possible sources of error include contaminated samples, skewed numbers from calorimetry, missing data from past studies resulting in several assumptions when calculating total N in phosphorus.
We use total nitrogen and nitrogen species to formulate a ratio of total nitrogen to nitrate from the 1994 sample set because it was the only one that broke down the total nitrogen composition. We assumed, as outlined in literature, that 10% of total phosphorus is made up of phosphate. We then used these ratios to determine the total nitrogen and phosphorus within the present studies and thus calculated the nitrogen to phosphorus ratio we discussed throughout the video.
So what's next? How do we help minimize Lochaber Lake's algal problem in the future? To improve the future health of the lake, more environmental regulations for road construction are needed. Furthermore, annual studies should be done on the lake to ensure nutrient levels stay at safe levels.
Thanks for watching!